In this video, we'll be taking a look at some of the Hawkes problems from section 3.1c, and that's on Hawkes. So let's see what we've got here. Consider the following linear equation, and the rest of the problem goes on to say, solve the equation and your answer is going to be an integer, a reduced fraction, or a decimal. So we go, okay, let's see what we've got here. So you'll notice this is, now we're going to have to put together steps 1 and steps 3. And remember, step 1 is simplifying or cleaning up each side. And I look at both of those sides and say, yeah, we can clean those babies up. So on the left, we've got 5/3 x plus 2/3 x, and if we add those, we would get 7/3 x equals, and on the right, 1/5 minus 2/5 is a negative 1/5. Okay, and I notice, I go, oh good, because all of my variable terms are on the left, and all of my constant terms, my plain old numbers, are on the right. So that's how we skip step 2. We didn't have to move things on either side by adding or subtracting. So at this point, we're just about one step away from solving this. We remember we want x all by itself. What's in the way? The 7/3 is in the way, and what is 7/3 doing to x? It is multiplying, so we want to undo that by doing the opposite. What's the opposite of multiplying by 7/3? Dividing by 7/3. But recall from the previous video, there's a shortcut. When you're dividing by a fraction, you can also just multiply, and I don't know why I put a negative there, multiply times the reciprocal. And what's the reciprocal of 7/3? 3/6. And if we do it on the left, we do it on the right. So on the left, what happens is everything cancels, and we're left with 1x. So I'm just going to write that as x. And on the right, well, we just have to chunka, nothing cancels. So it looks like we would get negative 3/35. Okay, next one. All right, in this one, I've chose this one to look at because I have noticed students, they just freak out when they see this 4/7 and they want to multiply both sides by 7/4 now that they know that cool little trick. But I want to emphasize, when we're doing these problems, our attention is on where the variable is, because we want to strip that variable so that there's nothing in front of it and nothing beside it. So if I could just cross off this. We don't even need to see that other side. Okay, but well, let's go ahead and see what it is. Okay, so we've got negative 6t equals 4/7. Well, before we go on, I want to review and go back to steps 1, 2, and 3. So step 1, can we simplify the left? Nothing more to be done. Simplify the right? No, nothing more to be done. So step 1, nothing to do. Step 2 is to get all of the variable terms on one side. Well, I think they're all over there. There's only one. And to get all of the number terms, the constant terms on the other side, there it is. So step 1, step 2, we didn't have to do anything, but we always need to check to see if we've got to do that. So step 1, step 2, finished. Now we're ready for step 3, and that is to get that t all by itself. And so remember, we're going to t equals something. What's in the way? Negative 6. What is negative 6 doing to t? It is multiplying, so we want to undo that by dividing both sides by a negative 6. Okay, we've got that issue again over here, but I think at least on the left you can see that a negative 6 over a negative 6 cancels to 1, so there's our t. But over on the right, I'm going, oh, that looks nasty. Remember that 4/7 divided by negative 6, we know how to do that. We've got fractions involved. That's the same thing as 4/7 times the reciprocal of negative 6, which is 1/6, and then you can throw that negative upstairs. And we can cancel it a little bit, and you know how I like to cancel. Divide by 2, and we would end up with negative 2 multiplying across 21st. Okay, let's see. We've got another example. Oh, nice easy one. So let's get blue since this problem is in blue. Clean up each side. Yeah, we can do step 1 because we can do something with each side. 13 plus 11 is 24. Negative 2x plus 5x is 3x. And again, I'm noticing we don't have to do step 2 because we only have one variable term and it's on one side, and we have only one constant term and it's on the other side, so step 2 wasn't necessary. We can continue to step 3. And in step 3 we see what's going on with x. Well, there's that 3 in the way. What's it doing? It is multiplying times x. So what do we do to get rid of it? We divide by 3. So divide this side by 3, divide this side by 3, and we lost our 4 there. And what's the end result? 3 divided by 3 gives us 1. So we have over here x. 24 divided by 3 is 8, and then you know it now. We just turn that baby around. Okay, the reason I chose this one is because I don't want you to fall into a trap that many students do. So here we go. Step 1, no, there's nothing more to do to this side, and there's nothing more to do this side. Done. Step 2, nothing to do because all of our variable terms are already on the left, and the only constant term we see, the number, is already on the right. So there's nothing to do in step 1, step 2, but I think we've got to do something here to get that negative 8 away from x. So we ask ourselves, what is that negative 8 doing with x? It is multiplying. So what are we going to do to undo that? We're going to divide. So we're going to divide by negative 8, and if we do it on that side, we've got to do it on this side. And we see negative 8 divided by negative 8 is 1, so we're left with just 1x, and this is the part I'm going to ask you to be really careful with. 2 divided by negative 8, let's put this over on the side, 2 divided by negative 8 is not equal to a negative 4. Okay? Many people say, oh, 2 goes into 8 4 times, therefore 2 over 8 is... be careful. 2 divided by 8, we can simplify that as a fraction, so let's just do this over here. Divide by 2, divide by 2, we would get 1 over 4, so we get a negative 1/4. And one final problem. What are we going to do to both sides? Yeah, we're going to we're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, negative 8/7, negative 8/7. And the reason we want to do that is because we want everything to cancel, including those negatives. So what we have left is x equals, and then we have to multiply this out, and we would get negative 8. And that's it for this video.